Hi everybody, it's Joe Chaffee here, and let's go through tonight's runs of the GFS and the NAM with regards to the system for Thursday night into Friday. And we've been talking about the fact that we need a phase to occur in order to have any kind of system come up the East Coast. And so far, here's that lead trough that comes through on Wednesday with a front that's going to go by. And you can see how the southern half of the trough splits and leaves a strong system down back through Texas and into Mexico. And as we move it along, now here's that northern stream system that's coming down. It appears to me that it's not as potent as the prior runs have shown. And when it swings out to the east, you can see that southern system is now starting to lag behind. So it never really gets to a full phase here. It tries to start phasing when it's getting close to the coast, and by that time the surface low is further out. At least that's what the models are showing at this point. And then of course when the phase takes place, it's already too late here for any kind of problem to occur. So we think that, barring any last minute surprises, that's the way it's going to play out. Now, one of the reason why it's playing out differently is if you look out here in the west, there's a disturbance that comes into the Pacific Northwest here, and you see how this ridge is kind of pumped up in this position. Well, that disturbance flattens that ridge out, and this is not allowed to lift up. Instead, it's just progressing out eastward. You have this other disturbance that just kind of flattens the flow out. So then we just move that along, and that just moves through across eastern Canada and out, and we have a little ridge here. And then notice that there's a rather big trough that comes into the west, and you have this disturbance here. And now we're into early next week, and that disturbance becomes the main player here out in the west. So that's going to make the ridge try to pop up here in the eastern states. Initially, there's going to be the system in eastern Canada that's going to try and prevent that from happening too quickly. But in the end, you can see that western system goes well to the west for the middle of next week, so some kind of storm that heads to the Great Lakes. So we're going to warm up ahead of that and get snow melt and some rain. And you can take a look at how it plays out on the surface. I will send it back a little bit here. We'll go back to tomorrow, Tuesday, and then there's that front that goes through. Now, it does actually show a little bit of snow on the backside if there's any precip with it. I wasn't really too impressed by the whole thing, if you ask me, and this would be for late Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, maybe some flakes of snow in the colder air. I don't think it's worth really getting excited about after you just had 2 feet. And here's that northern system, here's the southern system, and now what happens is they kind of just say they really don't get together until the system is way out. So now we're into Friday, and we've got a little bit of looks like some sort of warm front there that tries to go through on Sunday, and we get into some warmer air. There's another cold front here at week 1 that comes through on Monday, so it turns a little colder for Tuesday, and now you see that storm out in Kansas with big snows in Nebraska and the Dakotas into Iowa and southern Minnesota, and that storm heads up. The low goes to Chicago, bring some snow up to Wisconsin and Minnesota. We warm up ahead of it and get some rain along about Wednesday, if this is right, and some of that rain could probably be heavy with the deep storm that winds up in eastern Michigan, or a relatively deep storm. It's not overly deep. And beyond that, I don't have anything past day 9 yet. So, but I can tell you that in terms of the overall upper air pattern, that it looks very volatile. We're going to see, let's just switch over. I'm hoping that maybe I can get the wider view. Oh, good. We do have it. Okay, excellent. So starting here, you can see what goes on up in Canada. And you have this, here's that trough for Thursday. And then it just kind of gets very diffuse up here in Canada. And you have, kind of a Pacific flow that comes in and moves across the country and takes over as we go into next week. And there you have the storm that's going to go to the Great Lakes with a ridge that pops up the east coast This is for February 3rd now, and that's as far as it goes. We do have a big blocking high sitting in the Arctic north of Alaska. So there's some more major warming that's going on up in the high latitudes. Now, where this leads beyond 216, I'm not sure. The prior runs wanted to make it cold to very cold, at least for a little while, as we go toward beyond February 5th and 6th. We'll see how that plays. But the bottom line to me is that the overall pattern remains in this sort of hyper extreme volatile pattern where you're going to get all sorts of changes every few days or so. Where it ultimately leads, I don't know. But given that we just had a major blizzard and given how extreme everything is in terms of the atmosphere and how it's been for the last couple of months, I mean, I really would not be surprised if down the road, as we get into February, that at some point we're going to have another opportunity for some sort of storm along the East Coast. I guess I wouldn't be surprised by it, considering what we've been through so far. So, anyway, unless there's a really major change here with the system in the East. For Thursday and into Friday, I don't really see too much happening for the next week to 10 days as far as any major snow is concerned. And by the way, here's the NAM. And the NAM, actually, what it does is it leaves that southern system, a big chunk of it behind, and it never really phases it. It just kind of loses it here. And here's your northern system already racing out well to the east. So the NAM actually has, an even weaker look than the GFS does. I imagine the Europeans going to come in about the same. I'd be shocked if it didn't. So anyway, enjoy your day. It looks like the storm threat for Thursday night into Friday is not going to be one unless there's a major surprise. And enjoy your Tuesday as temperatures get up into the 40s.